Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be going over the best cards against Yummy and teach you guys how to beat the deck. So first off, I have ranked the hand traps for Yummy. Keep in mind when you're talking about like what cards are good against the deck, it depends heavily on the deck you're playing. Some cards utilize cards better than others. Starting off with the very best like hand traps against the deck. Well, I'll say I don't think there are any insanely high impact hand traps against the deck. When I think of a high impact card, I think of a card like Lancia against like Malice as an example, like. Or at least like before like Galen, a card that like basically is like a turn skip like almost, and Yummy doesn't really have those type of cards. Starting off, I think Nibiru is really good. Obviously, you can still guarantee disruption through Nib, but I think Nib guaranteed limits the board, stops the Arclight, and it puts a big body on the board as well. And for decks that really care about the Arclight, Nib's really nice. Also, when you go first against Yummy, you have Nib. It's like a really good like contingency plan. Maybe contingency plan is the wrong word, but it's really good backup. And it's pretty much so hard to lose in that position if you have your engine going. Next off, we do have Phantasme. Phantasme, I think, is really solid against Yummy. Obviously, like they do link summon, so it's going to be live. And the targeting protection is really huge because a lot of the Yummy disruption is targeting. They can still like chain block, like chain link 1 a Crocky, chain link 2 like whatever, you know, like add synchro or summon synchro or whatever. So they still have some ways to remove the Phantasme, but I think it's still really good for the deck, and it's really hard for them to get rid of. And then just drawing to like your higher impact cards is really nice, because Yummy isn't a deck where you need to draw like 3 or 4 non-engine to beat it. So Phantasme just drawing like 1 card can be really useful. Also, Phantasme is live on your turn as well, because they do special summon a link monster during your turn, so it has that added bonus also. And if you draw on like multiple or like, you know, draw on the extra one, whatever. One negative about Phantasme in this format is that it does conflict with the Molcharmies, and what I mean by that is if you Phantasme draw Molcharmies, it's going to be dead. So I think that's the main limit to Phantasme right now. Otherwise, it's really solid against the deck. Ghost Reaper is pretty cool. Your main Ghost Reaper target is going to be the Link 1 Snatchy. You Ghost Reaper that, it's very impactful. They can play through it with Engine. For example, any 2 names beats Ghost Reaper. I might show a combo on the screen, I might not, depends. But any 2 names beats Ghost Reaper. Hornet Jones by itself beats Ghost Reaper. So I think Ghost Reaper is good if you're playing a hand trap approach, because then you want to draw another hand trap with it. If you're playing like Ghost Reaper plus Board Breakers, I don't think the Ghost Reaper is going to be that great, just because they're going to end on like the board through it like half the time. Sometimes it could be like, if they start with like Obedience School, it goes crazy, but yeah. So I think Ghost Reaper is solid, but on the condition that you're playing other hand traps with it. So, like I said earlier, it depends on the other like non-engine approach, other non-engine you're playing with it. Fua, I think Fua is really good. At first, people were like, "Oh, Fua is bad versus the deck because their half board is like a lot of disruption," which is true. The half board. So when you Fua them, let's say normal summon like a Yummy, right? You go Fualos. They go Link 1. They place the minion revives, and they pass. Which it's a lot of disruption still on your turn. However, it's not that great because they have to go through more. They have to go through more hoops to get into the disruption. Also, that like half board is very weak to a lot of non-engine cards. So like Fua plus 1 is like actually really good. So I think Fua is very good against Yummy. It just depends on the other non-engine you're playing and what type of deck you're playing. Like for example, if you're playing like a Dragotail deck, Fua is crazy. Like I don't have to deal with Arclight. At least not until like the end of like they do so much to actually get to Arclight on my turn. That's like I'm fine with that, you know. So I think Fua is really solid. Gamma, I think Gamma's really good. You can like if they go with like normal some Cupsy, Gamma goes crazy. Beats Hornet Jones as well. Gamma Snatchy is nice. The only thing with Gamma is that it does play into thrust and tactics, mainly thrust. Obviously it plays in the tactics, but it plays in the thrust, so you gotta be careful about that. But otherwise I think Gamma's really solid. Really solid. Dominance Impulse is cool. Dominance Impulse is one of those hand traps where, honestly, on their turn, it's not going to be, like, insanely impactful, but you can also use it on your turn as well. So let's say you draw, let's say you draw, multiple hand traps together, you can, like, use, like, one on their turn, no, Impulse on your turn. Your main Impulse target on your turn should be, like, the tag out effect. And Impulse in that, if they don't have, like, a lot going on, is, like, usually, like, really good. So, I think Impulse is pretty solid against the deck, but it also depends on the non-engine you're playing. Moving on to the decent / situational cards, Shifter. At first, I thought Shifter was really good against the deck, but you can still get a decent amount of disruption through the Shifter, especially depending on if they open like more than 1 engine card. So Shifter is not like a turn skip against the deck at all. Hitting the resources in like the ground game is nice, and it does limit their end board a bit, but it doesn't like if you get Shifter, you don't have to do Arclight. But I don't think Shifter is like as impactful as some of these other cards. You could arguably put it in the good category. I just have it in decent for now. Bistills are pretty nice. As Disruption, they're not that great. Obviously, you can like Bistill when they go minion target. It's not bad. If you like Starham or Martial Metal, I mean Starham will still summon, but you can banish like level 1, so it's not a tuner. But as Disruption, it's like okay, but I think where the Bistill shine is that like they're also bodies, and bodies are really good against Chummy because all their guys are super small. So I think Bistills are pretty decent for that aspect mainly. Obviously, Drillstorm being hardest to out, imagine by giving you 2 bodies. The cards are pretty solid. Next up, we have Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom against the Yummy Engine's not that great. It'd be like normal summon Cupsy. I mean, you can Ash the Cupsy, and it feels okay, but then like they get to like the Arclight board, so it feels a little weird. But it's still a good card because Ash in like Obedience School is really good, and to be able to Ash like Thrust is really good as well. So it's songs if they play songs, obviously. So I still think Ash is pretty decent against the deck, even though sometimes against their engine it doesn't trade very well. Next up is Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell is pretty cool. So the main Ghost Bell target is gonna be similar to like Dominus Impulse. The way you use Ghost Bell is that when they on your turn, when they go tag out, when they use the synchro to tag out, you can Ghost Bell the synchro, and it ends up doing a lot. And they need like a lot of resources going on to be able to play through that. So Ghost Bell is pretty good in that scenario. You don't really want to have to Ghost Bell on the opponent's turn. Like if they go like Link 1 minion plays, I'm not trying to bell like minion. Like it just feels bad. You get super punished really hard, obviously. So ideally, Ghost Bell, you're playing with multiple other non-engine, or like other board breakers. Like Dark Ruler plus Ghost Bell is pretty good. They go Dark Ruler, they try to surprise, bring back, and then you Ghost Bell that, and it's not bad either. Cycle Reader is cute. The thing with Cycle Reader is that it banishes 2 lights. So like against Yummy, you can banish with 2 lights, which is pretty cool. So like when they go tag out, you can banish like their Snatchy from the graveyard. So even though they can summon something from the graveyard, they can't summon Snatchy. The negative about Cycle Reader is that it's kind of worse than some of the other hard Yummy options. Also with Cycle Reader, it's like if they already have like a Link 1 on the board, it's like Link 1 plus level 1. It's like really like it gets a lot worse. So again, some of like the boards I set up is pretty good. Some of the other ones is kind of meh. So yeah. Next up is going to be Contact C. Contact C basically depends on if they play like a Cross Sheep or whatever in the extra deck or not. If they do play a target for Cross Sheep or target for Contact C in the extra deck, way to link it off and keep playing, then the card does lose a lot of value. But if they don't, then the card is insane. So it's one of those cards. It's like a Contact C check. A Ghost Slugger is like okay. People say you can Ogre the Field Spell, which is true, although I don't think that's that good. I'm not gonna lie. Like when they go first, Ogre and Minion is like whatever. That's kind of meh. Like sure, you can Ogre Minion, but they can still like special any level 1 and just do the exact same line, right? It's not like they need the Field Spell to stay up. I think the main advantage of Ogre is gonna be like Ogre and like if you like half board them. Let's say you have like Fua, right? Yeah, like you Fua, normal summon Cookie, Fua, they go Link 1 pass. Then you go Ogre, you can Ogre like Snatchy, and like that's pretty good. In that scenario, so I think combined with some board breakers or some other hand traps, it's decent, but it's not too great against you. You can honestly even put in Lackluster, and I wouldn't hate you for that. Next up, Purge. I'll talk about Purge and songs together, I guess, because they kind of go together. Not really. Purge also, part of Purge's strength kind of depends on how many people are playing like Thrust, because being able to stop Thrust, like I said with Ash, is pretty cool. You can Purge Engage, which is okay. Some people are playing 3 Engage, so it's cool there. It kind of feels mad to like using like the add to synchro, just because like they still get like some end on so much, but that's like the main place to use it. So you can honestly put in Lackluster too. I wouldn't hate it. But yeah, speaking of Lackluster with Meows actually is not that bad. When they go minion target, you can Meows them. You get a draw there, and then it also basically stops the Arclight board. So you need like something like 2 more times to do that at least. So it stops the Arclight board, which is really cool, and it's like a pseudo turn skip kind of, not as much as like Fua, but it still like does okay. So I don't think Meows is that bad against the deck. You can technically drop one on your turn as well, although I don't think it's gonna be too great. DB Crow is kind of mid. You have to like high roll it, hit the minion target, and pray. You can also DB Crow like the Field Spell minion if it got any gifts from the graveyard. So. Perulia, I actually don't think Perulia is bad against the deck. The only thing, when they start with like Yummy, the only thing in Perulia is if you start with like Obedience School, it's like, or something like that, or like Hornet Jones, you actually just feel like terrible. You're like, oh, I just blinked myself. So it's like a coin flip type card. Imperm Veiler and Mourner, These cards don't have too much value. You're basically just trying to stop the Cupsy. I hope they don't already have the surprise, to be honest, or high roll it on like a Wink one. They normally summon a Cookie or a Lollipop. Delta, not that great. You can hit like Engage or Bean School, which is cool, but you know, if they open like a name, you're gonna be sick, right? So, and Joel with me, they don't need to search that much to combo as well. And there's a line too, which is cool with Obedient School, where you can like, you only search once. Well, technically you search twice, but it resolves at the same time. Like with Obedient School, you go like Obedient School, Snatchy, Minion Place, Minion Effect, then you change Snatchy. Chainlink resolve backwards. Chainlink 1 Synchro, Chainlink 2 Cupsy, or Chainlink 1 Cupsy, Chainlink 2 Synchro. You add both at the same time, like both the 2 monsters and the surprise. And then if you get Jolt there, it's like, whatever, right? Sure. I wasn't going to search anywhere anyway. I don't think Jolt's that great. Especially if people are cutting like thrust and stuff, I think Joel gets like, man, Joel's only really good on Engage, so not really that great. Next up, for the unplayable cards, Token Collector, Skullmeister, Gizmek, Chaos Hunter, Lancia, Azuna, and Retaliating Sea. I don't need to go over those. But we're going to go over some board breakers. So the board breakers, I think, are better against the deck in general. So the best board breakers against the deck are Droplet and Super Poly. Yes, Droplet is not great into Arclight, but if you have anything paired with the Droplet goes crazy. And Droplet is pretty good against like monsters that end with on the board, but also if they go like surprise as well. So it's like super flexible. Super Poly, this card is broken. I think this card is the best board breaker against the deck, to be honest. Yes, there's a board to play on Super Poly, but that board is sus, and I don't think it's that real. Super Poly is crazy. You summon Mud Dragon, it deals with Arclight, it deals with other stuff. Also, Mud Dragon just turns off Disruption and just harps them out in general. So I think Super Poly is a very good card against the deck. Moving on to the good cards, Pankratops. Pankratops is cool. You can force Arclight and just threaten cards in general. The good thing about Pankratops too is that it doubles as an Alta Floodgate. So if you're playing a deck like Vanquish Soul, you're worried about Rivalry goes in match, Pankratops deals with some of their M board, but also deals with some of the Floodgates as well, which is not bad. Metalchonus is pretty cool, I think, against the deck, being able to hit Snatchy, especially good into like the half boards too. Like if you fool with them, Metalchonus goes crazy. Metalchonus plus like Dark Ruler also goes crazy as well. So I think it's really cool. Fenrir. Fenrir is nice because basically how Fenrir works, special Fenrir, if they try to make a synchro play, you can go like turn play, because you're a turn player, right? Because you use it on your turn, you can just Fenrir banish the Chainlink 1. If they want to use like chain something, they have to like let your Fenrir get banish something. So Fenrir is actually really, obviously just a 24 body for free. So Fenrir is actually not bad against the deck. I don't think Fenrir is going to see that much play this format though, just because it conflicts with a lot of other non-engine, with the Zuna, with the Nibiru, like Famena, with the Holy Sue. So I don't think Fenrir is going to see much play, but if your deck can play it, I think it's really good. Moving on to, also going first too, you can like hit on Snatchy, like after they place the field spell is really big. Or you can banish the field spell too, and it makes it really hard to mount stuff. To the decent situational cards, Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler is really good to be able to deal with Arclight and their cards on board. The weakness of Dark Ruler is they can go like surprise summon like a Link 1 back and then just still do like everything or almost everything. Anyway, but Dark Ruler paired is really good. Eclipse is really cool as well. Obviously, if they use Snatch, you can chain Eclipse, so they can't synchro. Or you can use it like before main phase, depending on what they have. The weakness of Eclipse is they go like with like surprise. Also, you can't really like hold it for most decks because most decks like don't want to book their own cards. But I think if you're playing a deck that doesn't really care about some of their stuff getting booked, then Eclipse is not bad. Raigeki just blows up their board. The thing with a lot of these board breakers is that like they deal with the cards on field, but then like surprises the card. But if you have a way to deal with like surprise, then it deals with the cards on field too. Raigeki, obviously they have Arclight as the Omni Negate, but if they don't have the Omni Negate, Raigeki goes crazy. Lightning Storm kind of depends on how much back row they're on. And like imperms, purges, stuff like that. Although they can keep purge in hand. Songs, if they have songs, they have to set the songs. So Lightning Storm, depending on their list, can be okay. Forcing out surprise too is nice as well. Like if you have Lightning Storm plus Dark Ruler, you know, goes crazy, right? Well, not really. It depends on what else they have. Kurikara is cool. Depends on the deck you're playing. Like if you're playing a Yummy, like a mirror match, Kurikara is cool because you can Kurikara and then use it as an extender and then use some of the synchro effects. But you have to be playing a deck with a lot of pushes though for Kurikara to have value. Evenly matched is like okay if you don't have Arclight, but it's not bad. It's pretty decent. Tactics and Thrust. Tactics and Thrust are cards that it's weird because like you're using them after your opponent uses a monster effect, but your opponent's not using a monster effect until after you're starting to play already. So you have to be playing a deck where like you have multiple pushes and you have a card you can add that lets you play by itself. because you're gonna get, because you guarantee with some of these cards like Droplet, you know, Dark Ruler, whatever, you're stopping your opponent from using their disruption. With a card like Tactics and Thrust, you're saying, okay, your opponent is going to be able to use some of their disruption, but then you're going to be play after that. So it just depends. Spear Mode and Lava Golem, I mean, just deals with all the cards on the board. It's pretty nice. Salesman's pretty cool. They don't have Arclight you can call Snatchy, and it's like it actually goes crazy. Then the lackluster cards, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about. These cards don't really trade that well. Change Your Heart, Mind Control, Chalice, Ultimate Slayer, Gamethiel, Econ, Vesper Gearsu, Gordian Slicer, Alpha, and then the unplayable is Soul Release. Although technically you could see like some use for Soul Release. But anyway, this is it. These are the best cards I think you should be against Yummy that I think you should be using if you're trying to beat the deck. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Or subscribe. Take care.